Hi there, my name is Mr. Pete. I am a 4th grade teacher. I'm currently reading the book The Lemonade Crime, which is book 2 in a 5-book series called the Lemonade War series by Jacqueline Davies. A fantastic series. If you haven't read the first book, please make sure you go back and do that. You can read that with me as well, as I have that playlist set up here on my YouTube channel. To my class, make sure that you have setting written on the top of this chapter as we dive into chapter 7 called Diligence. I do want to send a shout out to one of my students, Nick Salvatore. Nick, peace. Thanks for reading. Thanks for leaving comments that are connected to this story. Awesome job as always. Here we go. Due diligence, vocab word highlight, noun, taking the time and making the effort to do a reasonably good job at something, the opposite of negligence. So highlight negligence, vocab word. Negligence means you aren't doing a good job. You aren't doing what you're supposed to do. Can we take a break now? Asked Megan, sitting up on her knees. She held the blue marker in her hand as if it were a lighted candle. Her fingers were covered with ink in all colors, and she had a pencil stuck through the base of her ponytail. Highlight, she held the blue marker in her hand as if it were a lighted candle. Simile, comparing a blue marker to a candle. Jessie was lying on her stomach with her whole box of colored pencils spread out in front of her. There was no way they could take a break now. The trial was tomorrow, and there was still so much left to do. All right, so if the trial's tomorrow, remember what day the trial was on. What day is it? And if they're at home working on this, what time of day is it? So the trial is on Friday. They're at home working on it, so either it's really early in the morning, and I don't think it is because Megan is a late person in the morning. So it's after school on Thursday. And it must be a little bit in the late afternoon because they've clearly been working on this trial for a while. Is Megan mad? Does she know what's going on with the money? She'd already interviewed the 5 witnesses who were going to testify, Paul, Ryan, Kevin, Malik, and Jack, to find out exactly what they remembered about the day of the crime when they were at Jack's house. She'd written out index cards for David Krikorian that told him exactly what he was supposed to say during the trial. Again, here's this character trait for Jessie. When the trial begins, you bang your gavel and say, "All rise, court is in session."
Please rise. Court is now in session. Judge Seymour Watson presiding.
All rise.
All rise.
Family Court of 5th District, Los Angeles County, now in session. The Honorable Marvin Munson presiding. All rise.
All rise. For the Honorable Judge Marshall Stevens.
Honorable.
The Honorable David P. Krikorian presiding. Highlight presiding. Vocabulary word. He's in charge of that court. If somebody talks who's not supposed to, you say, "Order in the court! Order in the court! If you're not quiet, I will hold you in contempt."
Sir, you're out of order.
Order. Order in the court.
Order, order.
Your Honor?
Shut up!
Right down, Mr. Vigoda.
You're out of order.
You're out of order. You're out of order.
Highlight contempt, vocabulary word. When you swear in a witness, you say, "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?"
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So anyway.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And the truth shall set you free.
Now she was finishing up coloring the map that showed where each person would stand or sit during the trial, and she still had to write her closing argument. Jessie felt for the first time in her life as if she was about to take a test and she hadn't studied long enough. Simile. "Let's just work a little longer," she said. "Are you almost done with the name tags?" Megan showed Jessie the 12 jury name tags, the 5 witness name tags, and the judge's name tags. So Megan's helping. Does she know about the money? Adam. Kevin. David. "Those are good," said Jessie. "Now you just have to do the ones for the audience," Megan groaned. "This is why Evan calls you Obsessy Jessie." So remember, Megan knows about this because of the lemonade stand, but Jessie never stops. Jessie hated that nickname. She hated all nicknames. Why had Evan told Megan about that? I'm not obsessed. I just work hard. It's called She thought for a minute, but couldn't come up with a name. Something. She scrounged. Highlight. Vocab. Again, a great word that means to look for something. Under the papers that were scattered on the floor and found Trial by Jury, the booklet her mother had written. She started flipping through the pages. But we've done this for hours, wailed Megan. I want to go outside. Due diligence, said Jessie. That's what it's called. Doing your job so that later no one can blame you and say you didn't work hard enough. Well, due diligence is boring, said Megan. She picked up the ruler that Jessie had been using to draw straight lines on her map and began to balance it upright in the palm of her hand. She was pretty good at it. Jessie was impressed. Suddenly, Megan asked, do you think you can really prove that Scott stole Evan's money? Jessie felt her throat close up for an instant. Hyperbole. That was the question she was most afraid of. That was the question that had kept running through her mind last night as she lay in bed trying to fall asleep. Highlight that. That was the question that had kept running through her mind. So that's a question running through her mind. That's personification, because questions can't run. I don't know. I'd better be able to. Jessie imagined standing up in front of the whole class and apologizing to Scott. It made her feel like throwing up. Megan put the ruler down and flopped onto the floor, spreading her arms and legs out like a starfish. Simile. She picked up the map Jessie had drawn that showed where everyone would be in the courtroom. The courtroom wasn't a room at all. It was the grassy part of the school playground, the part that was farthest away from the building and the blacktop, and was shaded by a row of large elm trees. Jessie had drawn exactly where they would set up the milk crates and the jump ropes and the balls and who would sit where. Everybody's name was marked with some kind of symbol. So you can see there's the map, the black top where they usually play basketball, where the school is, can kind of give you a visual, and then how next to the school is all the grass. Our school isn't quite set up the same way, but you can kind of picture like where our grass is. This is very similar to our building in that we do have that grassy area that's farthest away from where the school is. This is where they're planning on having the trial. Megan stared at the map. It's like I can almost imagine the whole thing happening, she said. There's just one thing. She turned the paper one way, then the other. It's not symmetrical, see? Jessie looked at the map. What was Megan talking about? It's supposed to be balanced, right? Everything even. But look, Megan pulled the pencil out of her ponytail and drew a light dotted line down the middle of Jessie's drawing. Very interesting. So you can see that symmetry at the beginning of the story is playing a part here. Megan notices that there's something missing. Jessie is Evan's lawyer, but Scott doesn't have a lawyer. Scott doesn't have a lawyer, she said. The sides aren't even, so it's really not, fair. I mean, to Scott. So again, let's think about what level that Megan is here. She's concerned about Scott not having a lawyer. Well, it's his own fault, said Jessie. She'd worked too hard on her map to hear any criticism of it. Highlight criticism, vocab word. Criticism is when you say something needs work or say something isn't good. But still, said Megan, isn't it the law that everyone gets to have a lawyer if they get arrested? Even if you're poor and even if no one likes you and even if everyone thinks you're guilty, you get to have a lawyer. That's how they always do it on TV. Jessie shrugged. He wants to defend himself. You're allowed to do that in a real court. Megan shook her head. He only said that because there was no one left to pick. I mean, no boys. She looked at the map again. It just doesn't seem right. What are you saying? Jessie wished people would just be clear about what they meant. Are you saying I'm wrong? Megan crossed her arms. All I'm saying is that it isn't fair if Evan has a lawyer and Scott doesn't. And you know it, Jessie. You know it better than anyone else. You're the queen of fair. Highlight that only because we know that's true. We know what level she is. She's always level 4. And I don't think Megan's trying to be mean. She's just stating a fact. Jessie's not being fair. Another nickname. Was it an insult? The way Megan said the Queen of Fair didn't sound like an insult, but Jessie wasn't sure. Sometimes someone said something one way and meant it exactly the opposite. That was called sarcasm, highlight vocab word. And Jessie always missed it, like a pitch thrown out too fast. Simile, comparing sarcasm to a fast pitch, leaving her swinging at nothing but air. Outside, Jessie could hear the steady bouncing of a basketball in the driveway. Evan, shooting hoops. Did he even know how hard she was working? For him? Then the bouncing stopped, and she heard a car pull into the driveway. Megan heard it too. "That's my mom," she said. "Gotta go." Megan had a dentist appointment at 4 o'clock. For the first time ever, Jessie was glad to see Megan go. All right. So you can see this was Jessie getting ready and Megan trying to figure it all out. Megan is still not mad at them, so maybe her knowing about the money isn't a big deal, or maybe she still doesn't know yet. I don't know. All right. To my class, thank you so much for reading. If you haven't subscribed and you have a YouTube account, please make sure that you do that. Make sure you have parents' permission, of course. To anyone else who's reading this, of course, find the subscribe button and make sure you hit click. You can, of course, go back and read any of the other chapters for the Lemonade Crime. And you can find my most recent video here as well. But you can find a lot of other books here. And again, please leave comments. Let's have that open discussion about this book. And again, feel free to leave recommendations below. I had someone leave a recommendation the other day, and I've ordered the book. Should be really interesting as it connects to another book that I read online. So thank you. I really, really appreciate all of those recommendations. All right, that's all for today. Our next chapter is called Defense. Defense. Who is on defense and what will happen next? This is an Evan chapter. I guess I will see you in this chapter. All right, have a great one. I will see you on the next page. Peace.